It's now 6 p.m., so I'm going to call the council meeting to order. And everybody's got the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Okay. Is there any additions or deletions? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Do I have a seconder?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Approved. Now we're going to pause to seek guidance. Okay. Now I'm going to read the mission statement for the municipality. Is to provide, promote, or facilitate municipal services that meet the community needs while preserving, supporting, and enhancing quality of life for all. Tonight we have two presentations. The first one is Charlotte Sabin and Lisanne Turner. Can I have a motion for them to come forward?
So moved. Oh, seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Floor is yours, guys.
I'd like to thank you for allowing us to come. I didn't get back to Pat right away, so before she went on vacation. Lisanne and I are here on just a background behalf, more so for public health. They put in a grant through the Thrive application and received monies to put together these binders that we just handed out to you guys to look through and to go to businesses with the initiative of making breastfeeding your business. And then the public health office in Digby then came to us and asked some moms that have chose to breastfeed their children to go out and to businesses and see if they would support this initiative. So it's kind of on a volunteer basis that some moms have got together. And we've, Lisanne and I actually have already spoke to the town, and we actually went to the Board of Trade, and then myself, Lisanne, some other moms have gone to businesses, and we just came here today just to let you know that we're going out in the community and also looking for your support kind of as a business here in supporting this initiative. So just to briefly go over what the binder is, for each business that we go to, they are given this binder as well, so we will leave you with one today. There's stickers that can be put on the doors and bathrooms, that sort of thing. And if you open it up on page 5, there's just some really simple check-offs that we're asking you and asking businesses to consider to make breastfeeding more friendly. And the first one is, one, just to let us give you the information and the book. Second is to look at a policy, which you guys actually already support and have, which everyone's aware of. Yes? I hope so. I was going to ask you that question, but figured I'd let you know in case you forgot. That you do actually have a policy within your healthy eating guidelines that you do support breastfeeding. So that's a check off right there that you guys already have. Next is we're just asking businesses to put the signage up to say that you are indeed breastfeeding friendly, so that moms do know when they come in. The other one is having your employees and employers support moms that choose to breastfeed, and when they come back to work, if they're still breastfeeding baby, that is their human right that they continue to feed their baby. And again, also when the public comes in, that you support that. And supporting the clientele and your employees. And then lastly is having a change table available in the bathrooms. And I was just at a place on the weekend I fed my baby in the stall and changed her in between the two sinks. So it's still reality. I'm everywheres, but it happens all the time. And even if I wasn't breastfeeding, then I'd still have to change my baby somewheres, which we all have to. And also looking at it being not only in the female washrooms, but also in the male washrooms. And then not necessarily a private place for mom to feed baby or to pump. It doesn't necessarily have to be a specific room that's labeled only for breastfeeding, but even if an office space or a place you're not using at the time can just be available to a mom if they do come in. So those are the requests that we're asking for. Can we keep going? Do you want to go through the binder?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. This is Freya, by the way. We didn't introduce her. The binder has a lot of great resources, and Charlotte mentioned a lot of them. But there are even, as far as supporting your employees go, there are actually fact sheets and conversation starters to share with other employees. So, for example, if you're trying to educate employees on what might happen if their coworker is breastfeeding at work or pumping at work or whatever, it's just like really simple stuff to start the conversation. So that sort of thing I think might work. We've been asking different businesses and organizations to do different things, obviously. Like Charlotte said, a lot of it is about flexibility and working with the space that you have. It's not necessarily about creating an add-on to your building and turning that into the breastfeeding suite. So, although that would be great also. But, you know, we're realistic. We understand. And it makes, you know, it's an easy sell. I think it makes places more accessible. When I come here, I just use your kitchen to change and feed Freya. But, you know, that's kind of a special circumstance. I don't know if someone had come in here for the first time, if, you know, what they would do. I'm sure they would ask and something would be provided. But, you know, it's about flexibility, I guess. And sometimes even just having the sign that's provided in the binder can make a huge difference. So sometimes I am somewhere and I have the patience and the energy to talk to someone. You know, do I have a place to go to feed my very nosy baby who's not going to pay attention unless she's in a quiet room, unfortunately. Or in other times I just say, oh, it's fine, we're almost finished our meal, we'll just go home. So it ends up, if I do ask, I end up staying somewhere longer if they have a space for us. So yeah, hanging up the sign can mean a lot because someone who's breastfeeding might walk into a building and think, oh, this is a little bit more welcoming for me. And it's, you know, it was that easy as putting a sign in the window kind of thing. Am I missing?
Yeah, and we had already asked the town, even, you know, advertising it. You know, we're always looking at, you know, people coming to the community or family-orientated communities and thinking about it in the way of, you know, we do support that for, you know, families coming in. If it was even on your website, that universal sign, we were talking about it, even, you know, families coming off the boat or traveling, that sort of thing, to know there's certain places that are going to do that. Certainly now that I'm living it and experiencing it, if those signs were there or change tables, it certainly changes my attitude of where I may go, you know, for business, or if people are going to support those sorts of things. It's just another opportunity to, you know, grab a few people, or, you know, that's what I'm interested in, and that little niche. And, you know, the article has been written as well, which was great for Jonathan to do that for us. And, you know, lots of really good comments were written in that section. And really what we're trying to promote is a healthy option for the baby, but it has nothing against, you know, anybody else who chooses other options or chooses to breastfeed only for a certain amount of time. It's, you know, really what we're asking for is to support all moms in particular, regardless of how they're going to feed them. Babies all become snoopy and nosy and can't feed in a public area because they're not going to do that. And really it's just a better option than we don't eat our lunch on a toilet, so, you know, why are we asking the baby to? So that's really what it comes down to, regardless of breastfeeding or not, but trying to create that culture that breastfeeding is normal, because it is, you know, a healthy option for the baby.
That it?
I think so.
Okay, that's great.
Are there any questions?
Questions?
I grew up on Westport with many aunts, and I remember I got a job in college and university, and they had a wedding, and they made an announcement to please breastfeed behind this little thing that they put on the side, and I started making fun of it. I'd never heard of such a thing. It was so silly just because growing up on Westport, I thought it was the most natural, normal, especially with aunts everywhere, just pull out a breast and feed them right there while talking to you. And I remember just being astounded that they wanted everybody to go into this room and hide off. But apparently that was normal. It was
Yes.
The attitude on the islands was the one that was unusual. So it's really good that I really like what you're doing. And what could be more normal or natural than breastfeeding?
That's true.
I made a bunch of jokes about can't see your cousin's breastfeeding. Oh my goodness, we got to hide them in the closet.
I know.
Didn't make sense to me then. Doesn't make sense to me now.
No.
So it's good that you're doing this. Very good.
Yeah, thank you.
Councilor Manzer? Councilor Adams? Thank you for your presentation, and we'll take your request in hand, and we'll have a discussion about it with the rest of council at a later date.
Okay, great. Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for your time.
Thanks.
I'm going to take back some of the binders.
Here's one of your...
Yeah, we'll keep, you guys can keep the one I have.
We'll keep one.
What kind of weirdo vegans have?
Yeah. Thanks.
So at this time, we're now going to ask Sharon McAlpine to come forward from the Fundy Y to do a presentation. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
There we go.
Go outside. It's snowing up there.
Thank you and good evening. I'd like to first thank Council for allowing us the opportunity to come from the Fundy Y tonight and present. I first would like to introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sharon McAlpine. I'm the Center Manager at the Fundy YMCA. With me this evening is Jill Sutherland, our Chief Financial Officer for the YMCA of Southwest Nova Scotia. And I'd also like to thank our board members from the Advisory Board for the Fundy YMCA that are here tonight, Louise Cutro, Wayne McDonald, and Kevin Ellis, as well as Beth Earle. Beth is also our local representative on the board for the YMCA of Southwest Nova Scotia. So I'd like to begin with a presentation. I'd like to first thank the Fundy Y. We'd like to gratefully acknowledge the support of the Municipality of the District of Digby towards the Fundy YMCA and the capital campaign. We truly appreciate that help, and I just wanted to recognize that first before I go forward with the program impact and things that are happening and have been happening. So together as girls is the first one on the list, and I will talk briefly about that. It is a program that we were able to secure funding through Thrive and collaborated actually with Digby Area Recreation and Annapolis County Recreation for this program. So Together as Girls has brought girls for the ages of 12 to 15, grades 7 to 9, from Digby Regional High School and Annapolis High School to the Y on Monday afternoons. It was a 10-week program, and we were able to provide transportation to get them to the Y to take part in this. It was a free offering, and honestly, the transportation and providing that, we had 48 girls the first week. So it's been a great program. It was a great collaboration between the recreation departments and the Fundy Y, and it just ended last week. So it's been a great program, and the girls really enjoyed it. They were doing everything from yoga to Zumba to swimming to outdoor activity, snowshoeing. So it was really great. The Cross Canada Swim and International Swim Challenges. We started Cross Canada Swim about 2.5 years ago. It just finished. They reached Vancouver in January, and they have decided to go on to Tokyo, so they're going to keep on swimming. So that's been a great challenge for our lane swimmers, so they keep track of all their lanes, whether you swim one lane or 80. YMCA Basic Fitness Instructor Training. This is something that we've offered the last 2 years, actually, and just a few weekends ago we had offered it again and had 14 people participate. This is an opportunity for folks that have a passion for fitness and also may look forward to volunteering, which is a goal that we have, is to grow our volunteer base so we can increase our programs. So we had 14 participants this year, and it's a great training. Alicia comes over from the Lunenburg County Y and offers that, and then we mentor that program through into the point where we do have some great volunteers that teach. The YMCA Aquatic Leadership courses. This is also, these are Bronze Cross, Bronze Medallion, and Nationals. We've put on those programs. We'll be hosting national program again in June. We're also doing research, and these are all programs that are helping keeping children engaged and growing lifeguards for the area, not just for the Fundy YMCA, but the pools in Digby and Annapolis and the Valley. So this is helpful because there has been shortages, and that's something that we all are struggling for, is to keep children engaged in swimming. So why REACH? I believe that most of you have met Jill Baltzer, who is our immigration support at the Fundy YMCA. She's been out there in the community and doing lots of great stuff, and I think I won't touch on that because I do think you're aware of what's happening with Jill. Child protection training and for staff and volunteers. This is something that we have incorporated in this past year, and every new volunteer and staff will take this training. Annual 5-kilometer fun run. We just hosted our first turkey trot last fall. It was a great success. We had people come from even the valley to take part in our run, and we'll do that again this fall. Spring break and summer camps for youth. This year we did do 2 days over March break, and we had 22 and 23 kids each day, so it was great, and we're looking forward to hosting some day camps this summer for the kids. YMCA Strong Kids fundraisers. Well, our turkey trot was a fundraiser, and just this past weekend we did a Zumba fundraiser that Annapolis Basin Conference Center actually sponsored and allowed us to use their space. So that was a really good success, and we had ladies come up all the way from Yarmouth to take part in that. So it was great. We have some photos there from the fun run from youth camp. And the one at the bottom, you can't see all of it, but that group of folks, they just graduated from our Scared Stiff program. So those were swimmers who actually had a fear of the water, and they wanted to learn to swim. So you can see the ages there in that photo, and it's really great. One of my favorite Y stories is one of the gentlemen in the middle, and he came because he just wanted to learn to swim so he could swim with his grandkids. And now he approached me the other day and he said, "You've got to come and see what I can do." And I said, "I know, so I will." But he's swimming lengths now, and he grew up being afraid of the water. So it's really awesome, and we wanted to applaud their work. So they are now in adult swimming lessons, and so community involvement. As you can see from the photos, we have participated in many different events. Digby Scallop Days Parade the last couple of years. Active Aging, that was Valerie speaking to a group of seniors at the Digby Regional High School. I'll start with the list. Annapolis Valley Health, we've had Smoking Sensations programs. Safe Talk for the health of it. Health of it is going again right now. We have great numbers come out for that. It's a free program for 6 weeks. Way to Wellness. HMCS cadet visits. Those are really great, and we're looking forward to the cadets again this summer. Medivie Health. I know many of you probably are aware that they are training now in Cornwallis at ABCC, and we are actually hosting 2 training sessions per week at the Fundy YMCA. So there is a component that they have to pass in order to physical component. So our program director is actually working with them twice a week to make sure that they're capable and ready to take that test. Cornwallis Community Garden. This was an initiative that we started last summer with Victor Cornwall's Community Garden with our youth. So our kids 1 day a week will go over to the garden where we've been given a box so they can plant and learn to grow their vegetables and weed and do all that good stuff, and it's been really great. The kids really enjoy that, and our youth staff go over with them, and actually they're working with seniors, so it's a really great collaboration there. Volunteer recognition. Digby and Annapolis, we do have volunteers from both areas, and we try to recognize them yearly with the volunteer awards. Schools Plus, Digby and Annapolis. I am involved in both groups. It's very positive, and I can't say enough about the Schools Plus groups here in Digby and in Annapolis. They're an amazing group of people that sit around those tables. As well, the Board of Trade in Digby and Annapolis. I take part in both of those as well. And the senior living, I just wanted to mention that the Meadows, Mountain Lee Lodge, and Tideview Terrace have all used the Fundy YMCA facility for the walking track, the pool, and they're actually getting some folks into the fitness floor. We have participated in the Digby Career and Options Fair, the Spring and Summer Business Expo. We are participating with Clark Rutherford Home and School, and Healthy Kids Day and Peace Week. Those are Canada things that the YMCA in Canada recognize, so we take part in those activities as well. Healthy Kids Day will be coming up again in June, which is an opportunity that we invite all recreation, anything to do with children. So whether it's 4-H groups, brownies, Girl Guides, everyone is invited to come to the Y so we can showcase all the different activities for kids throughout our communities. So people who are wondering what is there for their kids to do, well, this is a great day to showcase that. So we host that outside at the Fundy Y. Oh, sorry. Next, as you know, we have financial assistance at the Fundy Y, and that is essentially 1 in 3 members receive financial assistance, which is a reflection of our area for sure. So this serves a reduced rate for folks who may not be able to participate and come to the Y. So with this financial help, they are able to break barriers, and a lot of folks who normally wouldn't be using the Y and enhancing their life are able to. This is just a little chart of where the membership we're drawing from. So as you can see, Annapolis County is 62%, Municipality of Digby 27%, Town of Digby 9%, and then the other is 2%. Can you just scroll that up just a tad, Jill? Because it shows our membership. Oh, okay. So at the very bottom, yeah, it's just going to
see the numbers there
Sure.
at the bottom.
Yeah.
But of April 2014, we had 752 members of the Fundy Y, and April of this year, we're up to 973. So that's significant.
Is that what year to what year?
But that's from last year to this year.
Oh.
In the last year, we've gone from 752 to 973.
Well, that would have been impressive if it was over the last few years.
Yeah, and that's just in 1 year.
Go to the next page. These are numbers for the pool. These are pool numbers, so it just shows just some numbers for recreational swims, open swims, cross Canada swim, the lanes. So even though our membership base may be up to almost 1,000, we have a lot of users. So folks that may not have memberships but do definitely come and use the pool and enjoy swimming on the weekends. Some people that are coming up from the islands and from Weymouth, and even as far as Church Point, we've had people come down from Bridgetown. So they're coming from all over for the swimming, and that's great. I'm going to provide. Yeah. Okay. I'm looking at you. So these are just some of our partners listed, and then I'm going to actually give a hard copy of this presentation to y'all to look at later. Who we are is myself, our Aquatic and Youth Director Miranda McLean, Amanda Peck is our Membership Program Director, and Richard Chaplow is our Facility Director. So they're great. We have amazing staff and volunteers, and I just can't thank them enough for all they do. And I just would like to thank you for taking the time to allow us here to listen to our presentation. And If you have any questions, I do want to ask Beth Earl to come up and speak for a few minutes.
I noticed that I wasn't on the agenda because Yvonne wasn't able to come, and then she asked me, but
If it's
is it
okay.
Okay. So, I am on the board of the YMCA of Southwest Nova Scotia, and the Y that's here is a satellite of the Y that's actually located in Bridgewater. And I'm also the CEO of the Annapolis Basin Conference Center. So the Y is very, very important to us. I think most people know we have about 900 people there in the summer, and we have the cadets when the cadets are there. We're also right now, as Sharon mentioned, we're also we have the paramedics there who are training. So we have 15 people out in Cornwallis now training, and most of them are local, training to become paramedics. And we have supported it, the ABCC supported the Y from back when it was the Lifeplex, a large amount of money initially for partially funding the initial build. And we continue to fund with $20,000 a year because it's so vitally important to us. It's important to all the cadets who come here. It's important to any of the training things that we do. And I do think it's really important that everybody support it, whether it's local businesses, individuals, municipalities and towns. I know that right now it is being funded, and a lot of that funding is coming from the municipality of the County of Annapolis. But I think it's important that we all do part of it, and whether that's ABCC doing the $20,000 a year, whether it's me individually or us as businesses supporting individuals who are employees who want to go there or whatever it is. I just think it's a very important asset in this area. Certainly, I came here 31 years ago, so I've been here long enough that my 30-year-old was born here. All of my kids were born here. But I think very much we're always talking about recruitment and retention of professionals in the community, and I see that type of infrastructure as being very important when you're drawing people in and you're keeping them here. I don't know what everybody else did through this long, long winter, but I certainly like to visit there. When the Lifeplex closed and the local group that was heading up what was then the Lifeplex was looking to what were they going to do, and the municipality was talking about maybe approaching the Y. There was a meeting in Lawrencetown, and 22 people stood up, and a lot of us felt there'd be some for and some against, but 21 people spoke about the importance of the Y in their lives. And that, to me, was just an incredible evening, because people were talking about how they had kids who were disabled who couldn't walk but they could swim, or people who had knee problems, and they would go there and it just helped them so much. I personally have had both hips replaced, and in the middle of the winter, I'm not going to go tobogganing with my grandkids. Did it with my kids, but it's not going to happen with my grandkids. But I can take them swimming. So I think that for all of us, our community and some of our businesses, I know, as I said, with my other hat from ABCC, it's very important to us. And I just think that the Y is so important, and we have this wonderful asset. And I think we all have to make sure that we're supporting it financially and in any other way that we can, just to make sure that it stays strong and it has the support it needs in the local community. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Any questions for the presenters?
No, I would just like to comment that it's nice to see the number of programs that's going on at the Y, a variety of programs and the free programs, which is nice to see. I know here at Digby Recreation provide a lot of free offerings also, so it's nice to see.
Councilor Tudor?
How much does DART give you now? I know you probably had that in the numbers. I looked over them, but I didn't see that. I'm just curious what the Digby Area Recreation, how much they support the Y. Do you have that off the top of your head? Or?
Well, they've supported in things like with Thrive funding, so because the Thrive money has gone out to communities,
Okay.
Annapolis County and Digby County Recreation both have applied for funding that is coming back to us. So, for instance, Digby Recreation has hosted free swims for April last year. They put on 5 free swims for communities through that funding that they received. So, in the collaboration again with the TAG program is another way to.
So they don't have an annual amount that they give?
No.
But
Okay.
the summer camp students also go there, don't they, during the summer? Is there summer camp?
No, they would use it for Digby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Give one to Linda.
Thank you.
No. Give it to Linda. Councilor Adams, do you have any questions?
Nope.
Okay. You have any questions?
No.
Thank you for your presentation. You want to give that to Linda Gregory? Okay. We're now going to move into the approval of the minutes for March the 23rd.
So moved.
Do I have a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And now is there anything in the minutes that you wanted to talk about? No? All right. Now we'll go into old business arising, a road name change application. You want to say something?
I would like to, yes. The letter that we received, I'd just like to clarify a couple of points to make sure that you understand or what was going on. The first thing was the night of the storm on the February 15th when 911 was called, they actually did end up on Bloomfield Road. They called TIR, the fire department, and were told that, because it needed to be plowed, they couldn't get through, that the road up to our house, up to the top of the hill, had just been plowed. And Cliff Surratt was on the fire engine, and fire truck, and he said, I know where Jimmy lives, we're in the wrong place. So they came back down North South Range Road, came up the highway, and came up our road, which was completely plowed. And as a fact, the person who actually made the 911 call was my sister-in-law, Jim's sister. And as far as I know, as soon as you dial 911, the address comes up, and that's how they identify where the call's coming from. So I don't know exactly what happened there. And also in the letter, it talks about having to change the deed. I actually went to the Registrar of Deeds and asked them whether that would be something that would happen, that everybody on the road would have to change the deed, and they said no. And I've checked that in a couple of places now, and that's the answer. And I guess the bottom line for us is the safety issue. And that's why we're asking for that change. And also, we're more than open to have another name for the road. That was just one that we thought of. You know, we're open for discussion to that. And we would like to, if possible, just change the road from the highway up to where Bloomfield Road cuts across. And if that would be, then everybody on either end of the road hopefully would be happy. But while you're having the discussion, I'm going to excuse myself. Just wanted to clarify some points.
Okay. So, any comments on this?
Having read the letter that we received, like, I don't know, they had mentioned a couple of times where they had ambulance calls or whatever, and they didn't seem to have any trouble getting there or responding. So I can see Maritz's point. You know, from they had a call, they had trouble getting the responders there, whether it was fire department or whatever. On the other end, like, they don't have any trouble, so they haven't had any trouble. So it's kind of to me, it's like it's kind of out there. Like, do you do it or don't you? There's only two or three people on the road.
Yeah, I believe there's 2 permanent residents on the road. I think part of Councillor Adams's comments were pertaining to the fact that the Bloomfield Crossroad goes back, from what I understand, is it goes back and it crosses the Bloomfield Road, and then it continues on and it goes to the Ridge Road. So it's kind of like 2 pieces. And so one other consideration that she had would be to change the name back as far as the Bloomfield Cross, but then leave the other piece called the Bloomfield Cross. So I don't know if that would be more confusing for dispatchers.
To me, it would be,
Yeah.
you know, because it is kind of a straight, you know, an extension, right? It's just kind of straight through.
Right.
And it's not, like, when you come to the end of the Ridge Road, it stops.
That's the end of the road.
That's the end of it.
And actually, as per our policy, something like that would be discouraged.
Yeah, and I know, to me, it's confusing. In Halifax, if you're going down Roby Street and you see on the left is one street name, and on the right is another street name. Like, the street stop and ends right in the intersection. Like, to me, that's confusing.
Okay. Councillor Tudor,
I'm okay.
what do you mean?
Well, I don't have a terrible amount to contribute to this discussion in regards to the road or the area. I'm not terribly familiar with the area, and hopefully, yeah, I don't understand the implications of the area. I don't know. I don't have an opinion on this one.
Yeah, but do you support the name change or leaving it the status quo?
Need a decision on this now, eh?
Well, we have to decide if it's going to go forward or if more work's going to be done on it.
Did you read the letter from the other resident?
No, I'm going through this right here, and I don't see it. New business, or there's nothing for old business here either.
No, it was a separate, it was sent on
Separate
Friday.
attachment. We received a letter stating from the other homeowners that
It was a letter of concern.
It wasn't in our packet. Separate letter.
Old business for council, would that be it?
Yes.
in the letter basically it states that the other homeowners have run a business out of their home, and they feel that changing the name would be a negative impact. They would have to change everything with their banking suppliers, and so they don't favor the name change.
Doesn't it have to have a certain percentage of the permanent residents being in favor then, as far as the province is concerned?
Well, there's only 2 permanent
So it's
residents on the
50-50.
road, and it's 50-50.
So that doesn't
Yeah.
reach the provincial test,
Well,
does it?
it's our municipal policy.
50-50.
What's your view, Mr. Deputy?
Well, I look at it 2 ways. There are examples in the municipality where we do have roads that cross over, that one part's called one thing and one's called something else. One is in Conway, you've got Francis Drive, and then you've got Bel-Air Drive. It all used to be the number one highway. In this situation, I'm not 100% familiar with the road. Like, you may know the road better than I do.
Well, I haven't traveled a lot, I just know where it
Yeah.
cuts off in 101 and where it comes out in
Right.
Ridge Road.
I think before I could say that I would want to change it, I would want to have more information on it. But I don't really at this time support changing it until that was, unless there was support from like the local emergency services and so. But basically, at this time, I think that with having the letter come forward from the other residents, I couldn't support changing the whole road. So,
No, and myself the same, right?
so I think if anything else was going to have to be done, I think we'd have to look at it in a different way, looking at it if you were just going to do part of it. And I don't think that that's something that we could really do. We'd have to. You got your civic addressing that you'd have to address as well.
Well, may I read,
Yes.
in our policy, under section 4.4, continuity of a road name to be a criteria, a road running in one compass direction should have one name only and should, at least within a community, have the same name throughout its entire length, according to the policy.
Based on the policy, I don't think we could go forward with it at this time.
But maybe something could be done to check with emergency services or at the airport or the fire department or something, and see if they know where, if they had to go, do they know where to go?
Maybe there's other solutions as far as the safety
Yeah.
concerns, absent of an actual total name change, maybe be able to satisfy things.
Because there is only one
My answer's
Bloomfield Cross Road, there's only one of them.
Yeah. All right. So,
So are you going to take a vote?
yes, I'm going to ask for a vote whether we're going to accept the recommendation to change the name. So if there's no motion, we can't vote on it.
So the motion, council, you can make a motion to actually change the name and then either vote yea or nay.
Right. So I'm asking for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
You're going to have to.
Guess it's me.
So the motion is to change the name. Is that correct?
Motion would be to go forward with
The name change.
the application to.
Right, you
and
can't
there's
have it,
still, you'd still have to.
you can't make a negative motion,
Yeah,
so.
you'd still have to, yeah.
So
go
you,
to TIR and do the other things, so it would be to go forward with the application.
so all in favor of the motion, which is to change the name of the road?
Nay.
Well, all in favor?
Oops.
Opposed?
Nay.
All right. Okay, it's opposed.
Nay?
Yes.
Three.
No,
Motion's defeated.
That's not very many nays.
Can someone go and get Maritza, please?
It doesn't, if it's gonna be nay, it's already gone by that point.
How are we gonna do this?
Yeah, somebody get rid of it.
Yeah, we make sure the dispatch knows, and should satisfy the concerns.
Sorry?
We're going to go on to new business as soon as Councilor Adams returns. Okay, new business 8.1 is the Lobster Bash, the request for the use of the airport. In the letter, they've asked to use the airport on Sunday, June 28th, for approximately 6 hours to hold semi-truck drags. It says there would be no impact on the runway because the tires wouldn't be spinning when they leave on the starting line. Can I ask staff their
Jeff?
feedback on this?
I've spoke to Phil and to the airport staff, but I guess the first thing, the timing of this request came in, we were doing a little research. The 28th, we actually do have it's one of our other scheduled annual events at the airport. So the Lobster Bash group would be accepting of June 21st as an alternate date, just due to the timing, they didn't have time to issue another letter. Our biggest concern that they addressed in the letter was, I guess, the basic insurance and the tire spinning, the conditions. The event was held downtown last year, and I spoke with Tom, and they didn't have any issues with asphalt or anything like that. So it's very similar to some of the other events we run at the airport. The concerns, certainly we talked to the group about things like crowd control and what they're responsible for. So I think they have a good understanding of that. I talked to dispatch supervisor about it. We certainly do get some feedback from our users in the summer when we closing down potentially 2 Sundays back to back. It's not ideal.
Mm-hmm.
However, it is a public event, and that we don't see extremely high numbers. It's just the nature of when we close it down for a non-airport related activity, we normally do hear some comments from users.
Okay. Councilor Adams?
So changing the date to the 21st, is that then at the beginning of the Lobster Bash, or is that, isn't it just a weekend event?
This
So the
event
28th
is, I guess, it's got a loose association with Lobster Bash. They did the same
okay.
thing last year. It's what they use, I think, as a marketing or setup for their main event.
Okay, so it's okay. All right, no, I
Yes.
just was wondering with the date changing, whether it, yep.
Any other questions?
That's good.
You want a motion?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we allow the Lobster Bash to use the airport on June the 21st.
Do I have a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Thank you. Now, we're going to go to 8.2, the annual borrowing resolution. I had a question regarding this. It's got a term note here for $60,000. What's that for?
So, well, there's 2 items. First is our annual boring resolution, which we do every year.
Right,
We've never really had to use it.
right.
The 3 term notes are in relationship to 3 fire department loans that are being renewed.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Yeah, I wonder too.
One's Weymouth, Barton, Brighton, and the other one's Plimpton. So
Okay.
they're all coming due within the next few months.
Okay. Okay, I'd like to have a motion to accept the borrowing resolution with the bank.
So moved.
Do I have a seconder?
I'll second it.
And this
Can
is
we do
for $1 million,
Yeah, it's for an operating loan.
operating
We've
loan.
never, it's there in case we need it.
Right, but it's for $1 million?
Yes.
Yes.
But we haven't used it.
For
No.
$1 million, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. Now we'll go to the term notes. If there's three, do you want three separate motions, or do you want them all?
No, we can do it all in one,
Okay.
the three term, and then just refer in the motion to the three
I'd
term.
like to have a motion for the three term notes, the first one being a principal of $17,441.54. The second one for a principal of $60,000. And the third one for a principal of $78,550.
So moved.
Do I have a seconder?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Okay. We're now gonna go on to the Chief Administration Officer's report. The first thing is meeting reminders, and I just wanna remind everybody that on May the 4th, for our bylaw and policy meeting, that we're gonna have that meeting at 4 p.m. May 5th, there's gonna be a DDA meeting for myself and the warden, at 4 p.m. May 11th, Committee of the Whole will be at 4:30. May 18th, there's no meeting. May 19th at 6 p.m., there'll be a bylaw and policy meeting. And on May the 25th at 6 p.m., there'll be a council meeting. Everybody's had a chance to review the updates on the action items. Is there any questions for our CAL? Hearing none, I have a question pertaining to the LED streetlights. I noted that there were 28 to be confirmed for final GPS coordinates, but some of those lights we're probably not going to need. Is there an update on that?
Actually, Terry and I spoke on Friday, and we've been going through them one by one, and Terry actually went with Black and McDonald to look at them.
Mhm.
I guess it's going to have to be decisions made on each one individually. Some of them, like we've instructed Black and Mac, there's a few they found that the light may be set on a pole that's back away from the road, and if it was put across the road. So we've indicated that if the light can be moved to where it's, better use and better shines on the road. There's a couple cases where the light is actually near a home. It may not be in the best situation, but at that time, we're really not we've never made the decision to remove it from a home. If a homeowner is used to having a street light in front of their house, to have it removed, whether it's not really shining, we've made the decision to leave it there for now.
Okay.
But they're looking at them, and I think some will be moved. A couple may be removed. They're in an area where there's no traffic or anything like that.
All right.
So they're down to 28 to look at.
Okay. Yes. Mr. Adams?
Just for information, the anaerobic digester, have they come up to the temperature?
I haven't had an update since Friday from
Oh.
Terry, so
They
as of
haven't.
Friday, they haven't, yeah.
And I just want to mention with age-friendly community, I hear that program's been canceled in the new budget.
Well, I know there were
Shut all that
cuts. There were cuts to age-friendly in senior safety. I don't know if they were cut 100. I don't think they were cut 100%. They were
No.
reduced.
Okay, 'cause
We
I know
haven't got
senior safety,
details.
I think it's 25% instead of the paper, they were cut back.
The
Yeah,
helping hand one
25%,
too, which
yeah.
is a great one.
So we may still be able to get money for what we want to do, right?
Well, if there's any particular projects that come out of the plan, then we
Yeah.
would apply, and hopefully that would be, something. I don't know about the senior safety, if they've looked at yet and seen.
Doesn't affect this year's budget, but will next year probably.
Kind of sad that those programs that are so important are the ones that are being, anyway.
We're meeting on I believe it's the 5th.
Okay.
I think so.
Also, the letter, you contacted Fred Sanford from the Department of Justice to find out the status of the review.
Yes, we're trying to set up just an initial meeting with the 3 CAOs. So that's
That's the next step.
the next step. So we're hoping for something for the week of May 11th, but I'm still waiting to hear from Connie Saunier from Claire.
Are there any other questions regarding the action items?
Nope.
And is there any others on the capital projects? What about on the special projects and initiatives? Any questions? Okay. We're going to now move on to decisions and directions request.
There's none.
None. At this time, I'd like to have a motion for approval of the March 2015 payables for $658,241.85.
So moved.
Do I have a seconder?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. Income and expense report for March 2015 within your package. Any questions? Okay, we're going to move on to correspondence information items. We've had correspondence come in from the Rural Caucus meetings from November 2014. The minutes for that. The Historic Gardens April Bloom Report. The Well Women's and Men's Clinic. Recreation Nova Scotia. Contact information from Bernie Miller. And Municipality of Clare's Intermunicipal Services Contract Letter. Are there any questions or comments on any of the correspondence?
Are we going to discuss that letter from Claire? Or is there anything to discuss?
I think at this time, until there's actually some hard numbers on what the costs are going to be, I think that it's hard to get anybody to, they're just not supportive
No, I understand that.
until they know what those are going to be. So
So it just leaves it up in the air for now?
I guess so.
Yeah, I think the Municipality of Clare said, and indicated their letter, they're still very much interested in being a partner with the title, any type of a title
Yeah.
initiative, but right at this time, they want to wait until the business case is brought forward, and I think we're hoping that that'll be, I think we were talking to Mike Gushu, and we're hoping that that'll be within the next week.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
that's it.
All right.
So after we get that information, then we can talk to Claire again about that, and also the town of Digby.
Well, my suggestion to Terry was that it may be a good opportunity to bring the three councils together again and get an update when those numbers are here. I'm going to try to do that. Although I think Mr. Gushu's contract is finished the end of April, so time is
It expired.
expiring pretty quick.
Here's your thing, and see you later.
Okay, we're going to move on to the standing committees of council. There's no bylaw and policy recommendations, and there's no committee of the whole recommendations. So we're going to move into the advisory committees reports and updates. The Digby Source Water Protection Advisory Committee, Councilor Adams.
We were going to have a meeting, but it got postponed, so they haven't set a new date.
Okay. Heritage Advisory Committees, Councilor Adams.
Is this where I bring forth the,
Yes,
Okay.
it's on the,
all right, so, the ramp for the Weymouth Historical Society of the St. Thomas Church in Weymouth, they've had to revise it, so the earlier design included a double ramp with a 180-degree turn that could be difficult to maneuver, and so this has now been changed, and I'm recommending a single ramp, less intrusive to the front appearance and at 1/2 the cost. It was moved at our heritage meeting, and would like to bring that forward.
So you,
I move it, yes, sorry.
okay, do I have a seconder? The council will accept the recommendation from the Heritage Committee in regards to the entry ramp for St. Thomas Church. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Just make it easier for people to get in and out of there. It's two very old steps, stone steps that are very steep to
get
So
up.
is it's gonna be in the front or
Yes.
on the side?
No, it's gonna be on the front.
On the front.
I think going towards the left, there's some property that they've been able to deal with on the neighbor's side, so. And we're still very busy with the Provincial Heritage Meeting, Conference that's being held in October. We're having a meeting this week again on that, so the plans are moving ahead. And we got some funding as well from the province for the conference.
Okay, great. Okay, Planning Advisory Committee, Councillor Adams and Councillor Tudor. Is there anything?
We just had a meeting Tuesday,
Okay.
last Tuesday. Chris was unable to be here, but he was there by Skype, is it?
Yes.
And he's had a knee surgery and he's not allowed to drive, so he didn't have much choice. He put us through our paces, and we're coming along. I think we have one more meeting to look at one section, and then hopefully we'll draft an agenda for a public meeting and bring it to council.
Okay. Joint RCMP Advisory Board, Councillor Adams.
Oh, sorry. We don't have a meeting scheduled for a while yet, do we? I was looking in my book, I didn't have my book.
June is our next meeting.
Yeah, I
We
think
meet
in June is
quarterly.
our next meeting.
So we haven't met since the
No,
last
not since the last
council
time.
report.
Okay. Remo, there hasn't been a meeting since the last council meeting. And Western Regional Housing Authority, the report from Richard Fitzgerald was on your desk.
Okay, that's why it wasn't in there.
So
Did he? Where from on our desk?
one thing of note there is that there's housing available in the municipality. There's Riverside Manor's got 6 vacancies and Island Manor's has 7. So
So nothing here at all about the putting in, what do they call those where they go up the stairs, the electric?
Yeah.
Yeah, we asked about that and there's no mention about it. We even had an offer of an old chairlift, that's it. And there's nothing here about that, and I was kind of hoping that I'd hear about that actually. No follow-up, or?
We'll have to contact Mr. Fitzgerald and ask if he can raise this at the next meeting and then get back to us on this, because
Is that
basically
something I would do or staff would do?
now, Councillor.
Okay, if you wouldn't mind, thank you. Don't want to be. Yeah, I'm just curious, and I think that all those empty rooms at the 7 for the chronic vacancies are all on the 2nd floor. And there's elderly folks that have trouble walking that are already on that 2nd floor and knee problems, and a lot of the old fishermen, it's pretty back-breaking labor, hips and knee problems, is the hips in particular, from pushing the traps, that it hurts after a while. And so, if they're concerned about chronic vacancies, maybe they should make it so that the top floor is accessible for the types of people, for the people that would wish to live there.
Yeah.
So, just throw that out there for you, Linda. Just my thoughts.
Points taken. Okay, Age-Friendly Community Planning Committee, that's Councillor Adams.
We haven't met since the last
Okay.
meeting.
Warden Gregory's not here to speak on the Bay of Fundy Marine Transportation Association, so we'll have to pass on that one. Digby and Area Affordable and Supportive Housing Group, Councillor Tudor.
They're moving on. A couple small things. They had a meeting up in Halifax. I don't know what came out of it. I'll know, I guess, next week.
That's when your next meeting is?
Yeah.
Okay. Digby Annapolis Development Corporation, there hasn't been a meeting. Digby Area Learning Association, Councillor Manzer.
Yeah, a week or so ago, there was comments where somebody was concerned that Dalla was going under or closing down, right? But it was the section sponsored by Tri-County, whether it's evening classes, whatever service they were providing, they were thinking about withdrawing that. To students over age of 21, and some of them were students that had dropped out of high school. And Digby and Yarmouth are combined as one group. So overall, numbers are way down. So So they're considering or thinking about it. There was a piece in the paper yesterday or today about, or it must have been today, about, or on the weekend about that possibility. They had a week or so ago, they didn't have enough information, so they're supposed to make a decision this week on the 28th.
Would that be like GED?
GED or upgrading or evening school or whatever. So most of the students that would be affected by that, the ones under 21 would still be available for school. Now, in the past, if some students, had trouble getting along in school or couldn't handle the 8 to 9 to 3 routine every day and whatever, and so they dropped out of school and they went to the adult school. So those could be looked after in the regular school. And the ones over 21, there are programs that will look after them either through NSCC or whatever. So.
I thought you had to have a grade 12 equivalency to get into NSCCs. Is that not correct?
In some of their programs possibly, but maybe not in their upgrading program. Or maybe they have something where they can upgrade your skills or your level of schooling.
Okay. How many students were impacted in Digby, do you know?
I'm not sure, Jim. They just said the numbers were way down. And for those that were attending, their attendance isn't very good.
Okay.
So, if you had 7 or 8 students attending, 2 or 3 are attending on a regular basis, and some are kind of hit and miss, and some start off good for the first month or so, and then kind of tail off and just kind of stop coming.
All right.
It's just not cost effective.
So there's not really any major impacts to
Not
Dala?
a major impact to all the courses offerings that Dala are doing through their programs are running, and they probably have at least 12 or 13 different programs running, either being offered or starting up or just finishing. So
Okay.
it will be a bit of a hit to them because there may be a couple of instructors that will
Impacted by it?
be impacted, but not as far as the programs. So most of the programs are still ongoing.
Okay. Digby Area Recreation Commission, Councilor Manzer.
Nothing other than their budget, or the budget last week. We went over the budget and got approval from the board, and they're supposed to meet the joint council, town and municipality this week.
Mhm.
And Bob's going to present that.
Okay. You again, Digby Area Tourism Association.
Tired. At their last meeting, they talked about saltscapes, and they're I'm sure pleased with Rob Hersey's involvement in that and his efforts and his time spent on getting the setup, whatever they were going to take out there. They spent a while setting it up in here to see what it would look like, and that I think was last week.
It was just the weekend, yeah. It was
Last weekend. Did it go well?
very successful. I was talking to Greg Turner, and he indicated there was between 45 and 50,000 people that went through the expo. Not all probably visited at Digby's booth, but it was very popular for some of the pictures I saw on Facebook. So
There was a good contingent from the islands as well.
there was, yeah.
So then they also talked about the VIC center out by the boats, contacting the appropriate people to see if they could use that for something, possibly for maybe volunteer basis, a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours a day, like an hour and a half. When the boat comes in, there's no, they didn't see any need to keep it open for 8 hours a day. But there was, somebody had been talking to one of the people from Ottawa, one of the people in the know, and they said it had been mothballed and shut down for this year.
In Halifax.
Yeah, and so they were going to call the appropriate people and see if they could, any way that they could get it open for this, get control of it, open it up for a few hours a day.
All right.
I haven't heard it, since our last meeting. I haven't heard anything since our last meeting.
Okay. Thank you. We're going to, Digby Development Agency, we had a meeting on April the 1st. We continue to discuss moving forward with the Tidal Service Center in the basin. And at this stage now, we're looking to try to set up a meeting with the Premier to discuss this project going forward. That's our next steps, because as a community group, or I should say the DDA representing the town, the municipality, we've marketed and promoted Digby, and the industry knows we're here. They've been here, and they continue to sit down with us, and we're looking at potentially, signing an MOU with one of the developers and trying to promote the tidal industry in Digby. So that's where we are at this stage. The Digby Harbor Port Association, Warden Gregory's not here, that's hers, so we'll pass that one. The Digby Library Committee hasn't met, but there's a meeting coming up right away.
Wednesday,
Yeah,
11:45.
right. Digby Municipal Fire Association, Councillor Tudor.
I had my first meeting with them just a few days ago. They will be sending a letter of request to the municipality in regards to foam, purchasing of foam. So we'll be waiting for that. You'll get the details. And also I was asked to check out the, which I haven't gotten to yet, check out the specific wording for civic memorandum bylaw. So I'm going to check that out and I'll get back to you. There were some concern voiced too. So.
Okay. Pertaining to the foam, what was the request again?
They haven't sent the letter yet. I suggested if they're going to make an ask like that, it should be a letter. They were talking about having foam, one on the islands, one in Bear River, one in Weymouth, a pallet, so that for use of the local fire departments. Apparently it really shortens the amount of time you have to spend at a scene. It's expensive. Some people have it, some people don't. They're just discussing maybe sending a letter, hoping that maybe they could get a pallet in 3 central locations outside of Digby. This was just the
So you
discuss.
said
I didn't know.
FOAM, foam?
Yeah, foam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, phone. No. Foam.
No.
Then I realized you were saying foam.
Yeah, for the fire. Sorry, I was wondering why you were looking at me like that. Is that we could have a central phone for the fire department's one? We'll put it on top of one of those, like the Green Acres. We'll put it on top of a telephone pole. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's just for it can be very handy in certain circumstances, and the individual fire departments don't have the financial resources to each have the amount. So they thought maybe a shared in case of chemical fires or a larger fire, it would be accessible. But the letter hasn't been written yet. It was just discussed, so I imagine we'll be getting that sometime soon.
Okay. All right, Highway 101 Task Force, Councillor Adams.
We haven't met. We're still waiting for the safety report to come out, and it's been delayed and delayed. Last time we spoke to our MLA, he said it'd be out in a week or two, and that's been at least 2 weeks since then.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on there. That's all that I have. Until we have that, we won't be meeting.
Tomorrow?
Oh, okay. You know more than we do. I knew it was going to come, but. Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. King's Transit Authority, there again, Warden Gregory reports on that, but what I was really pleased to see is the ridership numbers continue to grow for our municipalities, which is great. So,
That's not concerned about the new buses that we.
yeah, they've had issues with the buses, and I guess they brought people in from the company that manufactures them to try to address the issues. So,
You don't have to pay for it.
no, it's under warranty still.
Has there been any change in the route at all, or is it, remember the couple
No.
months ago they talked about?
A couple minutes.
No, the general manager is meeting with council on Monday night, so that can certainly be a question to be posed to him when he comes.
Has there been any?
Nothing, no, no
Nothing's
decision's been made. I mean, it would come to council first, yeah.
Okay. Senior Safety Committee,
For various reasons, the last meeting was canceled, and we'll be having a meeting on the 5th. The budget will be, we'll discuss the impact on the program, and maybe start looking around, see if there's any other pools of money. It's such a valuable program, I'd really hate to see it, I can't see the circumstances that we could get rid of it, as useful as it is at this point.
Right.
And how we've come to depend on it.
All right, thank you. Shared Services Committee, at the last Shared Services Committee meeting, we had Jill Balter from the YMCA come in, and because of the job that she's doing now with immigration, and she's going to help us head up trying to form a welcoming committee in the region. So she took on the task of kind of chairing that, and we'll support her. But it's something I think is long overdue for this region, and it's very needed. And I think she's doing a great job. Transport to Clare, Councillor Manzer.
There hasn't been any meeting since the last time.
Okay. Councillor Manzer, Tideby Terrace.
Last month's meeting got canceled because of a couple of members were down with the flu. So they didn't reschedule it. Just got our monthly meeting this month is Wednesday.
Okay. Upper Clements Park Society, Councillor Adams.
We had a meeting on the 16th, I believe, and several things. One of the good things was that walk around the park after the snow finally melted, there was very, very little damage done. They had one area, the lining in the pool, the kiddies pool or something, that had to be repaired. So that was good news. I didn't have to spend any money on that. Haven't heard anything from the grant that they've asked for from ACOA. The school day reservations for June are ahead of where they were last year, and that's very good. And on that note, they've hired a person to be in charge of events, coordinating that, and what school days would be under her umbrella, plus other things that they're looking at doing. They've also decided, instead of hiring a company to do the mowing and the gardening, they're going to buy a couple of their own machines and have the maintenance and do that, and they should save quite a bit of money that way. And they've also installed cameras all over the park, and at a cost of, I think it was $12,000 for the different maybe not that much, anyway, for cameras, as opposed to hiring a night watchman over the winter. And so they save quite a bit of money that way, and they're going to bring probably a couple more in to certain areas that they can't quite see with those cameras, and place a couple more in there.
Does that impact the insurance costs too?
I don't think so.
That usually makes things a little cheaper on the insurance.
It could be, yeah. Gino's very, very good at, that's our manager, looking at ways of saving money, so.
Did they have a night watchman there during the winter?
Not now, not
No, but they
anymore,
do?
but in the summer they will.
Yeah.
And in the summer, they do different things. They'll like clean up, go clean the garbage and do other things as well, so that they're there. But in the winter now, they won't have.
Did they before?
Yeah, they did have some when they were paying.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's saving money.
Any other questions? Okay. Waste check. Waste check met on the 13th of April. We had our annual general meeting, and Leland Anthony, a councillor from Municipality Yarmouth, has been re-elected as the chair for the upcoming year. I continue on as the vice chair. We also approved our budget for the upcoming year at that meeting, and we had one staff member leave. She was from Ontario, and she was offered a position in her hometown, and she accepted it, and she did a great job for us, and she'll be missed. She did a lot of letters and a lot of education for Waste Check, and especially pertaining to commercial. That's it for that. Western Counties Regional Library. We had a board meeting, and we approved our strategic plan for the next 5 years going forward. So it was a good piece of work that was done by the board members, and looking forward to implementing. It's tough right now because of the cuts and everything, and with the reliance on quite a bit of the funding that comes to the libraries from the provincial government. But there was no cuts in the budget, which means that we basically go behind by the CPI because there's always that increase. But we also had heard that for a while that they were considering possibly cutting the rebate that the libraries received for the HST. But
that's something you lobbied on, wasn't it?
Yeah, we lobbied on that to make sure that the government didn't go forward with that, and they didn't, which was good news.
Excellent.
That saved Western counties probably between $16,000 and $18,000 annually.
Excellent.
That would have taken that much money out of the book stock. So, Western Region Enterprise Network Liaison and Oversight Committee. We haven't had a meeting. That organization, we only meet about 3 to 4 times a year, but that's for the REN. Weymouth Doctor Recruiting Committee, Councillor Manzer.
Yeah, we had a meeting last week, and these doctors are very elusive. Very hard to find. Very hard to find. The one that we were thinking about, or we had prospects on, has been completely left the area and gone to Cape Breton, I guess. So we weren't rural enough. So I guess we're probably thinking about the route of our next meeting. We're going to have a doctor recruiter come in and explain to us cost and the options available to us. Dr. Westby's leaving the end of October. He's down to 3 days a week now. At the end of October, he's closing shop.
So basically, the clinic will be closed at that time.
If the committee doesn't come up with a replacement, that would be, yeah.
Okay.
So, anything else from you? Important?
No, I don't think so. I think Warden Gregory was going to speak with Shirley Watson-Poole, the recruiter for Yarmouth, just to make sure that, to find out what was in place for incentives from the province for the Weymouth area.
What category we fell under?
Yeah. So once she gets that information, then we're supposed to have another meeting right away.
What's the patient load of Dr. Westby?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't want to even guess. I know it's very hard.
It's lots, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Council reports. Councillor Tudor.
I got the proposal for what was originally going to be for it was originally going to be for first impressions. Now we're thinking that cutting edge might be a better, with advice from the province, that cutting edge might be a better fit. The end report, I believe, was 38 pages, so that's come along well, but the province seems to be quite positive about the overall proposal. And I'd like to thank council for their help on that. I'd also like to thank Andy Moyer, Ann Schweitzer, and Frank and Sharon Palermo for their excellent work on that proposal. Quite the handful, a mouthful to put all that together. So big kudos to those guys. The unique thing about it is we got 4 villages sort of working together on it. In the past, the villages haven't gotten along as well as they should have, and I think that this project is a good way to show that cooperation and working together is the way forward. It really is, for many different reasons. I've been spending a lot of time on the internet for the rest of District 4. The solution that worked for the islands does not work for example, Little River. The line of sight, just the topography is different, but I'm working on a few possible solutions to that, and in speaking of the company, they do expect to have, they are planning and do expect to have the neck hooked up. Everything I've heard. We had a community meeting on the ferries. Not very happy with what the province's decision is. Gordon Wilson came down, which I was very pleased with. I've heard that there is going to be an installment plan made available for the islanders for a season pass. So if you can't come up with if you're on a very limited income, as many people are, you can pay for your season pass in installments to make it so you don't have that large chunk coming out of your income all at once. There's quite a few people wanted me to put together a contingent to go up immediately to the Department of Finance and make the case. I think that it would look good, but I don't think it would accomplish anything. So what I want to do is take some time, wait for the next budget, and go up with some numbers behind us and some, some arguments. I think there's some very good arguments against paying fees, period, on those ferries. And I'd like to go up with the numbers behind me, and I don't see the province with a majority government just backing down. So I'd rather come up with a plan that might have some chance of success. And also I'll be hopefully heading up with some of the village commissioners next budget time. Waste check came down. We had some dumping, and the guy was fantastic. Found out who did it, went to their house, had them come down and clean it up to the great amusement of everybody. And he also went to the school and contacted the O2 program to clean up, and is going to try to get a dumpster brought down to clean that entire area up. It's been messy for a couple decades, and recently people have taken to throwing garbage there. So it was more than a mess. It was getting quite gross, and so that'll get cleaned up quite well. I'd expect, and I was very impressed by the gentleman who was in the waste truck and how he went about the community and went to. Well, he wasn't just there to write down a couple citations. He was there to have a real solution for the dumping, and I was very impressed. He did a great job. Yeah, and yeah. Thanks to everybody. The food bank's almost out, so if anybody wants to throw food my way, the wood bank's long gone, long down. But yeah, everything's working out very well. People are being very helpful, as always.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Manzer.
Yeah, not a real busy month other than our, your regular meetings and stuff, but I did attend the volunteer dinner last week, where we recognized 23 individuals, families, and youth at the volunteer awards thing. And then last Friday was a judge at the Heritage Fair at St. Mary's Bay Academy. I did 7 to 9 projects. Had a good time there.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Adams.
I attended the volunteer dinner as well, and on Saturday night I went to the Digby Fish and Game Association's, they had an AGM, no, sorry, they didn't. They had a potluck dinner, and they recognized the volunteers who worked very hard there, and I presented the certificates for that, and it was very nice. And then they had a dance later on. I also was a judge at the Heritage Fair at the Digby High School for the grade 7s to 9, as well as running the Heritage Fair at Barton for the 4 to 6s. And I always enjoy all that, so that was good. I forgot my book, so I can't remember if there was anything else. I'll bring it up next month.
Thank you. And for myself, since last council, I attended a Jordantown Acaciaville Conway meeting with some of the representatives trying to have a community center built to talk about expanding the services of the consultants. And on the 7th, I attended a funding announcement in Bear River where our MP Kerr announced funding for the Legion and the Breads building across the street, so to help through the New Horizons program. So that was great news. It's going to help both of those buildings. They're going to try to do the roof on one building, and on the other building they're trying to do some windows and some insulation and stuff, just fix them up. I attended a Smart Energy conference in Halifax on the 14th and 15th. It's just a name change for the Renewable Energy Conference that they've had. And this was the 10th year of this conference. One of the things that I took from it, which I thought was great, was a session on waste to energy. And it's something that I'm really interested in seeing take place in Nova Scotia. And there's a company that's trying to put a gasification plant in the Halifax region. So I really think that's the future of handling our waste, and I'm hoping that this can go forward. There's close to 300 gasification plants in the world right now. There's none in Canada that I'm aware of, but there's 17 in the United States. They're heavily used in Europe and in Asia. And
What is that exactly, gasification plant?
Is that
Well-
the one that Randall went to
Yes.
Germany to see?
Yeah.
Sorry.
it's not incineration where you burn it, but you put it. Gasification, it would almost be like an anaerobic digester in a
Okay.
lot of ways. you're taking the waste and putting it through a process, and with heat, and you're actually taking the heat from the process. Part of the heat's used to operate it, and the other part you can create electricity from it, or you can have a district heating system. So you can also take your waste that you've buried and use that as feedstock
I've
as
heard
well.
of that before.
So
Yeah.
I think it's the future for handling waste, instead of just putting it in the ground. And there's no emissions from it. And whatever residue is left over, you can use it for fill, on ground fill. So it sounds
Made
very,
inert
very good.
taste after the process.
Pardon me?
It's the remainder.
It's
from
inert.
The process is inert. Okay.
Yes. So to me, that was well worth going to listen to this gentleman. I got his card and talked to him briefly about it. And actually, our renewable energy coordinator Terry Thibodeau did a presentation as well as to what our municipality's been doing, and it was well attended. There was a good number of people in the room. So it was a good conference. But it didn't just cover tidal. It had a piece of it was tidal, but there was also on the wind and on solar. And they talked about where HRM had set up this Solar City program, and they had one offering. Now they're talking about possibly a second offering, and so it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds. So because it's
A lot
sort
of
of
options out there in the green world, isn't there?
oh, there is.
Yeah.
There sure is. Also, during the month, I attended the PVSC. I was sitting on the board of directors of that. I chaired the quality meeting. I had a meeting on the 26th of March, a board meeting on the 27th. And last week I had a governance meeting. Actually at the 27th, we had an election of chair, and I became the chair of the PVSC at that time. And then last week I had a governance meeting on Thursday and a board meeting on Friday. So that's my report for the month. At this time, before we go in camera, I'm going to ask, is there any, oh, sorry?
One thing, did anybody attend the Waste Check Awards thing in Clare?
Oh, sorry,
yes.
I meant to talk about that. Yes, I kind of emceed it, and Councillor Adams and Warden Gregory attended as well. It was a very good event for the students, and RFB, I commend them for what they do. They're having 7 of these luncheons or dinners around the province and recognizing the students. And I believe we had between 600 and 700 students put applications in our region. So, no, it was a good event. So, any other questions?
Just on that one though, it's, Barton School came in as honorable mention in the grade 2-3, but what's very interesting is that they give out scholarships to the grade 12 students. I mean, that's a big help. It was like $5,000 and
That's for the grand prize.
for the grand prize, which wasn't in our district. They were going to announce it
Still-
on the other one.
There's
But
available.
I think the other one was 2,500, wasn't it?
One student got 1,500 and the other one had 750.
Yeah. So
And
that's a great help, I think.
And you know what? They don't really get that many students applying in grade 12.
You'd be amazed at the amount of bursaries and scholarships that
Yeah.
people don't apply for every year. It's amazing.
Okay. So at this time, I'm going to ask, is there any questions from the audience pertaining to anything that we've discussed tonight? Jonathan? Thank you. We're going to have a 5-minute recess.